Okay, so we are going to have a look at the consolidation breakout indicator settings and how to set them for the time frame and the pair that you want to trade them on. So first of all, of course, you load it onto the chart. Here I've got Euro USD M1, and you can see we've got a few signals here. But what if I was going to be wanting to trade on H1? There's nothing here. And we'll have a look at the indicator here. What we're going to do is we're going to change a few parameters and then have a look and see if the signals that we get and see if they work for us. So the maximum number of pips the consolidation range can be here is set to 20. So that means that let's just say this consolidation here. So the upper and lower range of that consolidation pip range in pips there is somewhere at 24 pips. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's just put that to 50 pips for now. Okay, now we're getting some indications here. All we've changed here is that the consolidation range can be higher. So all you would do is you would do that. You would then have a look back and check out. That one's not very good because it's obviously a loser. But these two here, you would have a look here. I'd be entering here. Okay, my stop loss would be up here, and then I'd be looking left for a take profit somewhere, some previous structure down here for a take profit. And then similarly here, I would be saying, right, okay, so I'd be entering here. My stop loss would probably be down here, and then I'd be looking for some market structure. Would I use that? Maybe, or there may be something up higher here which took us to there. We don't know. Could have a look. But anyway, that's how you would take your trades. Back test your trades. If you did that several signals further back and you were happy with the results, then of course you can save those settings as, for example, you might call them consolidation breakout Euro USD H1. But let's have a look at some of the other settings. The max signal breakout pips. How many pips do you want a candle to break out from the consolidation and close above or below the consolidation? Okay, and again, you can test that, increase it and decrease it. 2 pips is pretty good. It's good for me, particularly on the M1 or M5 time frame. As you come up higher, you might want it to break out a bit more than that for you to be convinced that it's a proper breakout. And you can change it and have a look quite quickly. Trend EMA 100, let's leave that as it is. But you could change it if you wanted to, but it will make a difference. And then the upper and lower mean level. Now on the MT5 indicator, you just have one mean level. And I'll just show you what that means. So let's just have a look. Right, let's have a look at this consolidation here. Okay, so if we zoom in on that. Right, imagine if I drew a line across the middle of that, okay, and imagine it's horizontal, but MT4 being MT4, then it doesn't let you necessarily do that because it's snapping to the high of this candle. But anyway, imagine that is through the middle. In MT5, that would be the value of 0.5, and in fact here it would also be 0.5 on each. Okay. What the indicator will then do is look just above and below the line and see, do the candles move above and below the line? Okay. If it does, then that would not give a signal because it wants the bodies of the candles, all of them, to be through this line, or the line to be through the bodies of the candle, a bit like they would be, for example, oh gosh, I was going to say here, but they aren't because we've got a tall one there. If we had something like that, but anyway, you get what I'm talking about. If all the bodies of the candles had this line going through the middle of it, then there isn't much up and down movement within the consolidation. It's a really still price movement. Now, you're not going to get many of those, so if you have this set to 0.5 each, you'll hardly get any signals. But when they do, see that's disappeared, but when they do, you normally get a big breakout because it's been so still. And of course, you can set it to 8 and 0.2. Make these add up to 1. And as you do that, oh, there we go. Now it's come back, and you've got your signals. So that's how to check how still do you want the price to be before the breakout. The closer to 0.5 on each one, or in MT5, there's only one value, like I said, at 0.5. The closer they are to that, the fewer signals you'll get. You hardly get any actually at 0.5. And but they could be really good breakouts. Excuse me, I just had a drink of water. Okay. The proportion, the signal candle max proportion. How big can this candle be in proportion to the size of the consolidation? This is a feature which you don't need to use, but it's here before. If you imagine, for example, that this candle was this big, let's just say this candle looked like that. Now, particularly if we're on M1, that is probably a news event that's caused such a big move. And it's probably, if it was a new event, that's come up here, it's going to retrace, and you're not going to get a new trend formation, which is what this indicator is really about. So if you allow the signal candle to be, here it is 10 times the size of the consolidation, that's fine. But you might want to then come to the chart, look at, wow, that's a big candle, I think that's going to retrace, and not take, in here, in this case, not take a buy because it's going to come back down. If you don't want those kind of signals, I'm going to put this to 0.2. It's a ridiculous amount, but just to demonstrate. Oops, there we go. That the signal disappears. Okay, because it can only be a fifth of the size, 0.2 of the size. So 3 is good. 3 is a nice, good average. But you can leave it as high as you like and get as many signals as you like. But then you need to decide whether you want to take the trade or not, depending on how far it's moved. Okay, where are we now? Trend gap pips. This is purely, if we just mark, let's say there's the beginning of the consolidation. There's the end of the beginning. And here's the EMA, started here, ended up there. It's moved about 2.5 pips in our direction that we wanted it to. Obviously, the more pips it moves, the stronger the trend. And here we've said if it moves more than half a pip, which is my setting for M1, then show us a signal. Now, if I put that, it needs to move 10 pips, the signal should disappear. There, it disappeared because this simply isn't moving up fast enough. So again, you would set that to what you would like. And then the signal candle max wick proportion. What we don't want, let's just say that this is the signal candle. Let's just say this is the consolidation here. And let's just say this breaks out here and it closes above the consolidation by our 2 pips in this case, so it does qualify there. But look at the size of this wick. This says it went up here and came all the way back down. There was a lot of selling pressure on that. What you really want is for this wick to be smaller in comparison to the size of the candle. So you can set that in the settings, because this said I wanted price try to go up, but it couldn't because of the selling pressure. Therefore, it's probably not going to go up again. It might do, but it's probably not going to. So I like to let it go at about 0.3. You could set it to 0, which would mean there'd be absolutely no wick. You'd get virtually no signals whatsoever. Again, this one disappeared because look, there was a wick there. But if you got one, if you did get a signal, it's probably a very strong signal, because it means that the close would have been right up here. It was allowed to go all the way up, and there was no selling pressure to go. So the buying pressure would still be strong here, and it's more likely to go up. So that's how you would determine your wick size. And then the time of the day, obviously, whenever you want to trade, and do you want alerts. So those are how you get your settings. Once you've got something that looks right, just have a look back, check the trades that you would or wouldn't have taken, and see if you would have made any money. Once you've got that, you can then save them and as your settings for that. So I hope that helps.